So good morning everybody. Myself Ifrath, I am the Assistant Professor of the Department of Commerce at Theivanai Ammal College. Today I am going to take about a small topic about the corporate social responsibilities, also known as the CSR. So the CSR is simply means it is the responsibility of the each corporate towards the society, which include how the company or how the corporate is contributed to the environment, social, economical and ethical ways. So as per the section 135 of the Companies Act 2013, it is mandatory in India for the companies covered under the section of 135 and the companies which come under the category of having a net worth of rupees 500 crores or more, or the turnover of rupees 1000 crores or more, or a net profit of rupees 5 crores during the financial years. And this types of the company has to be comply with the CSR provisions in India, and this company has to require at least 2% of their net profit over the preceding 3 years as a CSR. And there is one more condition is that this types of the company has to create one special committee like CSR committees, and that we can discuss in the next sliders. And in simply we can say that CSR is commonly defined as the business model in which the company integrate the social and environmental concerns in the business operation and the interactions with their stakeholders instead of only considering economic profits. Okay, which means that it is the responsibilities of the corporate towards like society or the environment rather than generating the profits. And this business model aims to make a beneficial contribution to the world, whether for the sake of the society, the economy or the environment. So as I said that it is a giving back to the society itself, that is simply means a CSR. And the main objectives of the CSR, which include the first point is the social welfare and the community development. So which means that the social welfare and the community development, how the corporate is contributed for the social welfare as for the community development. For example, in the real example, the TCS is contributing to the tribal educations, and many companies is contributing to the education as well as the scholarship for the students or the tribal region or the rural areas. Through their contribution they are contributing to the society, through that the community is developed. And next is the environmental protection and sustainability. While a company is contributing to the environmental protection or the environmental responsibility, normally the company is protecting the environmental. For example, the companies is protecting or company's contribution towards the greenhouse gas emission reduction, carbon dioxide gas emission reduction, afforestation, then water bodies reservation. Many areas has come under the environmental protections. Through while a company is protecting the environment, it will be led to the sustainabilities of this company as well as society. And the third point is about the ethical business practices. We know that the CSR is a contribution of the corporate towards the society. So normally it will provide a transparency of the companies or the corporate that this company is contributing to the society. So it is their responsibility towards society. So normally their contribution will be in a transparent way. There is no chance for fraud conductions or misleadings by this company or the board of directors. And the fourth point is the stakeholders engagement and the trust building. So the stakeholders, which means that the all external parties or all the parties that related with the corporate sectors. So how the CSR is engaging the stakeholders and how they building the trust between the stakeholders is the most important point. For example, while the company is publishing or they are preparing the annual report, normally it will contain the clear details about the all contribution towards CSR. So normally that it will help the investors, creditors, debtors, everyone to know the real financial positions of the company. And more than that, the company's contribution towards customers, like the customer protection or the product protection, something like that, that will also create a trust between the stakeholders. So it will be positively impact the corporate in all ways. And the next is the legal and regularity complaints. So which means that as per the India, it is mandatory for the all companies which come under the section 135 to spend at least 2% of their profit towards the social responsibility. So the company, every company which come under the section have to spend their CSR. Okay, so while that it is the legal or the regularity companies, while a company is contributing to that, they will be matching or they are obeying the legal and regularity rules. And the next point is about the last one, that is enhancing the corporate reputation and the brand value. This is the most important point under the CSR, which means that while contributing to the CSR or while a company is contributing to the CSR activities, it will be like enhance or it will be increase the reputation of the corporate in all the way, and it will increase the brand value. For example, I firstly said that the TCS is contributing to the tribal education or the rural education, so the whole community or the whole society's opinion towards this TCS is different, so they are contributing to the social development as well as the economic development. So that is why the stakeholders value towards that company is increasing. It will helps to the increasing the branch value or the reputation of the company. Okay, and next topic is about the key pillars of CSR. Actually, the key pillars of CSR, which simply means that what are the different areas where the CSR is more focusing. So the first is about the environmental responsibility. So the environmental responsibility, which means how the corporate is responsible for the contribution towards environmental activities. So under the environmental activity, which include all the points that is protecting the environmental as well as the long-term sustainability. And the first which include the adopt the eco-friendly operations to reduce the environmental footprints, which means that while a company is adopting any eco-friendly, like I already mentioned the first thing itself, like a company is contributed for the greenhouse gas emission, carbon dioxide, water reserves, reservations, or afforestation, different activities is come under the environmental itself. So while a company is contributing to that itself, it will reduce the environmental footprints like carbon dioxide gas, different types of the emissions. And next is the use of the renewable energies, recyclable packagings, and sustainable raw materials. This is also come under the environmental responsibility. We know that what is recyclable packaging and renewable energy like windmills, solar energy. These all are the contribution of the different corporate or the different companies towards the society as well as the environment. And the next is minimizing the carbon emission through the local sourcing and the green logistics. So these all come under the environmental responsibility. While we look into the real corporate sectors, many companies or the financial institutions like the banks is contributing to the environmental responsibilities like solar energy, next e-vehicle, then windmills, everything is the come under the environmental responsibility. And next is the economic responsibility, which means how the contribution of the corporate helpful for the economic development. So it will create the profit in a socially and environmentally sustainable manner. For example, if a company's contribution toward society is helpful for creating the more profit. And next is the providing the fair wages, healthcare benefits, and job securities to employees, which simply means that while under the CSR itself, it provides different options or the opportunity for the employees as well as the different people itself to generating different job opportunities as well as healthcare benefits. For example, like many companies is contributing to the healthcare facilities, free camp, everything like that to its staff or its employees. And next is support the community growth by investing in local business and partnership, which means that whether the company is contributing for the small or startup ideas to protecting, which means to supporting such types of the business. And the third one is the philanthropic responsibilities. So philanthropic responsibility, which means how the company or how the corporate is responsible for the social or the society, which simply means how the companies contributed to the donations, scholarships, or the community development project, different like that. For example, many companies is conducting the different community programs like Christmas, different program they're conducting. By based on that community activity or the project, they are contributing to the different societies, different sections of society itself, and many companies providing the donation, or as well as the companies providing the scholarship for the who are very good in academics, and they are very weak in the income in every economic level. So these are the corporate contribution towards the society or the philanthropic ways, and it simply means it is go beyond the business goal to serve the society, that is mainly focused on supporting the society rather than creating the profit, and support the social causes such as education, healthcare, and disaster relief will become under the philanthropic responsibility. And the last key pillar of the CSR is the ethical responsibility, which simply means that how the corporate is ethically responsible for the society itself, which means how to promoting the integrity, fairness, and transparency across the all levels of the corporate, and while ensuring the fair labor practices, equal opportunities, and the safe workplaces, and the maintain product safety and ethical supply chain standards will all come under the ethical responsibility of the corporate towards the society and environment itself. Okay. And the next, in the first slide itself, I mentioned about the CSR committees. So it is a broad level subcommittee constituted under the section 135 of the Companies Act 2013, and they are responsible for monitoring, formulating, and guiding the implementations of the CSR activities undertaken by the company itself. So the company which come under the section of 135, it is mandatory for that companies to prepare to formulate one CSR committees with a minimum of 3 members for the public company, and which one member must be an independent directors, and in case of the private company it is in 2. Okay, and this committees is ensuring that the company fulfill its legal obligations related to CSR, and it's aligned to the social responsibility initiative with its business values and the stakeholders in this. And the applicability level of the formulation of the CSR committee is that it is constituted as a CSR committee with a minimum of 3 members, and one should be an independent directors for the case of the listed companies, and in case of the private company it must be 2. And the companies which come under the section is which have a net worth of 500 crore rupees or more, or the turnover of rupees 1000 crore or more, or the net profit of rupees 5 crore or more. These are the criteria of the company who have to constitute or who have to formulate one CSR committees. Okay, and next is what are the key responsibilities of the CSR committees. So first is about the formulate the CSR policy, which simply means that it is the responsibilities of the CSR committee to formulate the each CSR policy related for the each corporate level. So based on your under the sections, which means their profit, everything, it is the responsibility of CSR company how much they have to be contributed, or in which area they have to be contributed for the CSR sectors. And the second is the recommend the CSR expenditure. I already mentioned that based on their CSR, based on their net profit, it is mandatory for the spend at least 2% of for the CSR activities. So based on that, it is the duty of the CSR committee to recommend what are the areas or what are the sectors they have to be focused for the CSR, and how much fund they have to be contributed for the each sectors of the or each activities come under the CSR activities. And the third point is about the approve and monitor the CSR project, which simply means that it is the responsibilities of the CSR committee to approve and monitor the CSR project, which means that whether a CSR project is implemented, and it is the duty of the CSR committees to monitor, which means to take care of that project until that is completed, and also they have the responsibility to approve any project itself. And the next is the ensure complaints and reportings, which simply means that it is mandatory for the each company to publish or to disclose their CSR activities under this annual report. And in the few years ago, we are preparing sustainable report itself. So it is the responsibility that whether that CSR activity is coming or matching with the complaints of the rules and regulations or as well as that whether is like disclose it in a very good manner. All is the responsibility come under the CSR activities. And the next is that review and update the CSR policy. So which means that it is the duty of the CSR committee to update in each year about their CSR activity. So in each year their profit may be changed, so as per that, and they have to change their policies to more and more contribute to the society itself. And next, the last one is about the collaborate with the implementations agencies, which means that sometimes the company may be like collaborate with some other supporting agencies to contribute to the society itself. So this also is come under the responsibility of the CSR committee, to which collaborate with the another like NGO and some other cases and to contribute to the society itself. Okay. And the next concept is something related to the CSR, but it is not a CSR. Okay. So that is the corporate philanthropies, which is refers to the voluntary and charitable action taken by a company to support the social, cultural, education or environmental causes, usually through the donations of money, resources or time without expecting direct business returns. And it is a subset of the CSR, but it is typically more focused on the donations and charitable giving rather than being integrated into the company's core business strategy. So which means the main aim of the corporate philanthropy is that giving to the society in the way of the donations, scholarships, charity in a different way rather than focusing on the profits. And it is not directly aimed at generating profit. I already mentioned that. And the next topic is about I already mentioned that corporate philanthropy is something related to the CSR, but it is not a CSR. It is a subset of the CSR. Okay, so philanthropy is only focused on the societal activities, which means a charitable donation and education, which means some companies is providing the internship, providing the scholarship for the students, donation to any NGOs and old age home, something like that. So these all are come under the philanthropy. While in case of the CSR, which include all the activities contribution to the environment, social, like economic, everything will become under the CSR. So the main difference between the CSR and philanthropy. So one is the CSR is a broad concept where the companies is integrate the social and environmental concern into their business operations. So it is a very broad, while in case of the philanthropy, it is simply means a donating or it is an act of giving money or resources or time for the charitable purposes. Okay. And the next is about the integration with business, which means how the CSR integrated with the business. One is it is the core business strategies and aligned with the long-term goals. CSR is always focused on the long-term sustainability growth of the business. So thereby it is more focused on the long run of that company. And in case of the corporate philanthropies, it is separate from the business strategy, which means they are mainly focused on giving some resources or money to that activity, social activity. So often it is handled by this foundation or the CSR in itself. So even in the first slides we discussed about the key pillars of the CSR, and one pillar is the philanthropic responsibility. So the corporate philanthropy is maybe come under the CSR itself. And the next difference is about the legal requirement. So in India, it is mandatory for the CSR to spend at least 2% of their profit towards the social responsibility. But in case of the corporate philanthropy, it is voluntary act done by the companies and not mandated by the law itself. And the next is the fourth point is about the scope. How the scope of the CSR in the company, which include the labor practices, environmental protection, ethical activities, stakeholder engagement, social activities, everything will become under the scope of the CSR itself. But while coming to the corporate philanthropies, it is focused only on the donation, on the scholarship, that is to the cause of the NGO, which means giving to the social society by providing the scholarships, donations, education services or the resources or their time for the social activities. And the last objectives, which means what is the core objectives of the CSR, which is mainly to achieve the sustainable development by balancing the profit and social good, which means that the CSR is focused on the achieving or balancing the both profit and the social responsibility togetherly to achieving the sustainable development goals. And while in case of the corporate philanthropies, It is mainly focused on the supporting the community welfares without necessarily linking to the business returns, which means they are contributing to the society itself without aim of generating the profit. So these are the main difference between the CSR and corporate philanthropies. So in the sections we are discussing about what is CSR, what are the key objectives of the CSR, and what are the key pillars of the CSR, and what is the CSR committee, and what are the responsibilities of these committees, and the last is the corporate philanthropy and the difference between this corporate philanthropies and the CSR. And I hope you that the session will be clear for you. Thank you.